Everybody. We're going to give people kind of a few minutes to kind of file in, and then we're going to get started. And while we wait for everybody to kind of get here, we're going to be taking questions. There's a Q&A box down at the bottom of your screen. So pop those in there for myself and for the panelists today, and we'll take some of those questions at the end. And we're just going to give everyone just another minute or two to get in and get settled. All right. Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. My name is Elise Franco. I'm the staff writer for Charlotte Inno here. Welcome to Charlotte Inno's 2021 Startups to Watch event. This is our second annual Startup to Watch list, reveal, and event. And some of the startups that we will reveal to you today are going to be under the radar companies that you may not be as familiar with, and some are going to be companies that you do already know. Either way, these are companies we expect to see making big moves in the next 12 months. Today, not only will we reveal the list, but we will introduce you to a few of them and chat with their founders about their plans and aspirations for the next year. Just as a reminder, if you have any questions for the panel or for Charlotte Inno during the event, drop those in the Q&A box down at the bottom and we'll answer some toward the end. Before we talk to a few of our startups to watch, for anyone unfamiliar with us and what we do, Inno is part of a growing network of sites. We're currently in 14 markets, soon to be 15. And we're committed to covering and connecting local technology, startups, growth, and innovation. Charlotte Inno covers the local ecosystem through daily stories, twice a week newsletter, and quarterly events, which are obviously all virtual right now. Check us out at charlotteinno.com to see what we're all about. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for The Beat, our twice a week newsletter. The Beat's definitely the best way to stay plugged into everything that's impacting our local innovation economy. In it, you'll get the local tech and startup news you need, analysis you won't find anywhere else, information on upcoming events, and cool job openings. It's all presented to you in a fun conversational manner. And again, before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors, the City of Charlotte and Charlotte Business Resources. Their goal is to connect you with the information you need to learn how to start a business and be successful in running it. And DUALBOOT partners. DUALBOOT provides on-demand product design and software engineering and has the agility to start small or scale fast. Clients include tech and non-tech founders, as well as Fortune 500 companies. Now, before we reveal our full list of 2021 startups to watch, we're going to talk to several of their founders. So welcome to our Startups to Watch panel. First, I want to introduce to you Ryan Kennedy. He's the CEO of Atom Power.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan Kennedy, co-founder and CEO of Atom Power. A quick background, I'm a Charlotte native. I graduated from UNC Charlotte and have about 26 years in the electrical power distribution space, which is where my focus landed with Atom Power to ultimately create the world's first approved UL listed solid state circuit breaker, which really just means a digital circuit breaker. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Ryan. Next, we've got Margaret Kocherga. She's the CEO and founder of Light and Charge Solutions.
Hello, everybody. Well, I guess we're doing a little history of where we come from. I'm originally from Ukraine. I'm located in Charlotte, North Carolina, also UNC Charlotte graduate, where I got my PhD in nanoscale science. And that's how I started my technical research work for my startup company. And we officially had formed an LLC in November 2019. So I've pretty much only knew the world as COVID place as a startup. And what we do is that we are developing and producing organic-based materials to replace some of the sourcing issues with rare earth materials and toxic elements. And we use these materials to apply them in organic electronic devices. So basically like screens of your phone, screens of your computer, things like that. That's what we're targeting as our customers at this point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Margaret. Next, we've got Flaviu Simihaian, CEO of Troy Medicare.
Hello, everyone. I'm Flaviu. I'm originally from Romania. Grew up, though, in Concord, just north of Charlotte. I went to school at Davidson, then also UNC Charlotte. Started this company called Medicare, pulling a lot of all-nighters in Packard Place for many, many years. And then we ended up selling the company, started Troy Medicare, which is a health plan, an actual health insurance company, health tech that serves seniors in the most low-income, underserved communities with a health plan that doesn't suck like a lot of the other health plans out there. And so that's where we're at.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And last but not least, we've got Eric Major, CEO of Bundle.
Hey, everybody. Eric Major. I'm founder of Bundle. Also grew up here in Charlotte and went to College of Charleston a few hours away. We started Bundle. We like to call it incognito mode for mortgages, because when you try to find your mortgage online, a lot of times you'll end up on what's called a lead generator site, and they'll just take your phone number, sell it to a bunch of banks. You'll get like 50 cold calls. It's a really terrible experience. So we sort of take that pain away and allow you to find a mortgage lender in a hassle-free way.
Great. And again, congrats to all of you for doing big things this year and being on our list for next year. We expect more big things from you. We're excited to see how that's going to go. So the first question I've got for you today is, how was this year different for you in terms of operations compared to last year or the years prior?
Yeah, I can start that one. Adam Power was fortunate enough to get our first UL listing on our circuit breaker last year, and then this year is really the year we started shipping product to customers and getting that critical feedback on what we're doing, because it is a huge change in what's happening with our power systems and energy management. So I would say that this year for us was a growth year, from shipping products, and we changed facilities and we added people, and then of course COVID obviously makes it a little different, but other than that, we were on a pretty good trajectory this year, and for actually shipping the UL approved product out to customers.
Awesome. Anyone else want to talk about how their year has been different?
I can hop next. I'll talk actually slightly different tangent on this. I'll talk about it from perspective of potential customers. The market changed quite a bit in my space, especially now that everybody has their face in the screen all day long. So the actual producers and manufacturers paying a lot more attention about the safety factors, about actually your eyes on a screen and materials used, because little children are now a lot more in touch with technology than ever before. So for me, there's actually an extra emphasis on using organic materials, finding the right replacements, having safer ways of doing things. So for me, it's, I hate to say it, almost a little bit better point than it was before, because I don't have to educate my customers on that now. They do realize that that's a problem and we need to fix it quickly, very rapidly. So I'm really hoping that would accelerate a lot of things. But there are other restrictions that COVID makes it harder, since I can't really do underground science in my backyard. Getting in lab is definitely often becomes a challenge and restricts the speed of things. But hopefully we had resolved things enough right now to have enough space to functionally and safely do things where we don't have a lot of people bunched up and everybody's safe to do work.
Great. And so COVID's obviously impacted everybody differently. How has the pandemic affected you, and what changes did you have to make in light of everything that's happened as a result?
I'll try here. So, one of the things last year that I was personally really focused on was trying to go home, turn off everything that we were doing at Bundle. And I'm married with 2 kids, and, focus on making sure my head wasn't off in space somewhere. And so that was something I was really focused on. And then all of a sudden in COVID, you go to this situation where now you're with your kids 24 hours a day, and quality time isn't necessarily on your priority, your high priority list, because you have a 100% quality time. So we that was a really good thing for us. But what happened, because my wife is she's the CFO of a company here in Charlotte, very demanding job, and we had to switch it up a little bit because we were both trying to watch the kids and everything. And so what we ended up doing is, it sounds crazy now, but I started waking up at 1 a.m. and working until 8 a.m. and then watching the kids when she was online. And at first it seemed really weird, but then it really worked, at least when we were in quarantine. Now we're more back to like a normal schedule, but that was probably the craziest thing of how we coped with it.
I've actually heard a lot of that from different founders. You know, they had to kind of reimagine how they parented, how they worked together, working from home. So that's interesting to hear that you had a similar experience. Did anyone else have a similar or an extremely different experience due to COVID?
Yeah, I think the separation between work and life definitely blurred quite a bit. Look, we went from really zero last year to significantly more this year, and we're in the middle of a fundraise, but then also there would be, whether it's coding, sales, support, all kind of being done by the same person from the same place. And so definitely blended all functions into one person, which at first was overwhelming, but now it seems like normal.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think so. I think you asked about what what changes did we make, and from a company standpoint, we had when we founded Adam Power in 2014, we had almost a policy in place that said all the work is in the office and it's a big cohesive unit. We're all together all the time, and that's how it had been until we got struck with COVID and the quarantine and things around that. And we had to retool ourselves a little bit to say, okay, well, how do we work part remote and part in the office, because we make products as well, physical things. So you can't do that through Zoom calls, and we had to really think about that. And I was very scared or worried, I guess, that we were going to lose out on that productivity and the culture we kind of built this cohesive team working together. And I found it to be quite the opposite, which really surprised me. I think that there was some level of calling about COVID that, we're all in this together and we're going to make things happen and we're going to do it remotely. And what we found out is that being remote in some instances, particularly with the software development, was actually somewhat of an accelerator, because we all of a sudden had this extreme focus, apart from somebody asking questions consistently, or something like that. And so we found in some ways it actually accelerated production for us. But we did have to retool to figure out, okay, how do we actually build things and then, and then work remotely at the same time. So it took quite a blend of, who could be in the office and who could work from home and things like that. Right. So quite a logistics challenge, but we actually ended up coming out of it quite well, from that aspect.
Ryan, do you think that those changes that you were forced to make are going to stay in place once, once things return to semi-normal, or, people are allowed to go back to the office full time?
I think what we learned from them will stay in place. I mean, we'll probably still all be back in the office at some point, when we can. A lot of us still are. It's now, since we're not in total lockdown at this point, but yeah, I think what we learned from it will be is how to be productive and when to isolate yourself and to focus on work. Right. That was definitely a lesson we learned as part of COVID.
All right. So what has been your biggest challenge this year? Maybe, company related, or, as a founder, as an individual, and how did you overcome that challenge?
I guess I can go there. Adam Power's one. I mean, Adam Power's probably the hardest business you get into from a hardware standpoint. I mean, we build circuit breakers, which most folks don't want to spend time on because they're a established industry and established technology. I would say that probably one of the biggest challenges we faced was a different challenge than what we're used to. We're used to technology challenges, what we've been overcoming for the last 5 years now. I would say really the challenges we saw were the emergence of Adam Power from a technology company into a products company. What we're doing is so fundamentally different and a shift that has never been seen before, in the electrification space, that you kind of had to be that technology company and focus just on the tech first to get that right, because it's kind of like, packet switching for the internet. It's one of those things that just enables a whole bunch of different things, but we had to quickly shift from that technology focused company to a market focused company to say, okay, we have a product, the technology works, it is proven, it is listed now and approved to be used in virtually any commercial industrial building. Wow, that's a big deal. So we, where's ultimately our customer base, and where is Adam Power going to make the biggest impact? And that caused a pretty major shift with us, in that technology was really driving the company. And this year it was a pretty dramatic shift into the market, and our business development are driving the technology. So we had to shift from just purely tech development into, well, we got a product now and we're selling that product, and let's focus on how to make and accelerate our own markets and have the greatest impact we could. And that takes a pretty big emotional shift, if you're not accustomed to doing that.
I can add, the biggest challenge for us this year was we went out for a fundraising round right in March, and it was an intense experience of folks. Like, I remember one person I was talking to, and then next week they were on a plane to the Southern Islands, wherever this investor lived, and said they wouldn't come back until COVID was done or make any investments for the entire duration. So that happened quite a bit, and so we slowed that down and just became a really what started off as a kind of seamless process. It became a really challenging effort, and honestly, I think we overcame it mostly by luck, and a lot of folks really helping us with some key introductions that ended up leading to what became a very good strategic partner investor that we love and feel awesome about. But I'd say that it was probably one of the most challenging things I've ever had to do.
Was that your first experience with fundraising?
No, it was my third experience with fundraising. So you'd think it'd get easier over time, but this particular one, with the economic condition of the summer, was intense.
Definitely. Margaret, what do you feel like your biggest challenge has been?
Yeah, well, I would describe this year as a roller coaster experience. There's always just something randomly new pops up and you're just not ready for it. But well, I guess that's the definition of a startup. The first hurdle was the problem of just shutdowns all along and the cut downs on how many people can be together and things like that, which if usually laboratory spaces are not known to be widely spread and spacious. So original plan was a joint entrepreneurial program, which is based off in Chicago area, called Chain Reaction Innovations. So I was supposed to do my tech development and prototyping at Argonne National Laboratory, but with all the bans for travel and everything, I ended up having to figure out how to rent space in Charlotte as well. So now I end up managing 2 different locations, which wasn't expected originally. So now I have 2 different laboratory spaces and have to figure out the staffing and everything, but actually ended up being a bigger progress on its own. Is just I had to learn a lot faster how to manage 2 locations instead of trying to manage 1 location, and they're in different states, one in the north, one in the south, but that was the first problem. Second problem is I'm feeling more now is building a team. It is a little bit more challenging to start building brand new team online only. And for a variety of reasons, it's just much easier to do communication. I mean, we're humans, right? We're used to communication in person, and now you have to be a little bit extra creative about how you're going about learning the person. You have to put extra effort. You can't just go and take somebody out for coffee break, right? So how do you do that? That's definitely a bigger problem now, is just meeting people, trying to understand if we're the right fit for each other. Do we vibe? Because knowledge is one thing, right? It's much easier to find the knowledge, but it's much harder to find like-minded people. And right now that seems to be a little bit more challenging because of this whole remote thing. But there are different things coming up, lots of online activities now, games, things like that. And it's helping out, definitely.
Awesome. And Eric, did you have anything you wanted to chime in with?
Yeah, I think for us, we had, we have home buyers on one side of our marketplace and lenders on the other side. So one of our big focus points for this year was, expanding the amount of lenders we had. So, we released our full product about a year ago. We had all these amazing plans to go travel and meet and share our vision and, which lenders we wanted on the platform and just show them demos and be face to face. And then boom, you don't have that ability anymore. And so you have to get very creative in terms of, I give a lot of credit to Marco Bergarello, our head of growth, of, sending coffees to people's houses and sort of doing a virtual coffee demo. And, it's like $15, but still it like sets you apart a little bit, I think. And, t-shirts and thank you notes and those kinds of things, it really makes you think, what are the things that, you can do to sort of overcome what we were expecting to do, which is go sit down with people, share what we're doing, and changed a bunch of things on our side.
Yeah, it's all about making that connection, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So we've talked about your biggest challenges. You're all on this list for a reason. So now talk to me about your wins for this year. What are some of those, and how have you all managed to push forward and grow?
So I'll just keep going here. First, I think two main wins. One, I just mentioned Marco. So Marco joined the team late last year. I was a solo founder before that. And so he was, employee number one. And so just the fact that was able to land him, he's an incredible add to the team and has done an amazing job. So I don't, who knows if that didn't happen at the end of last year. And, we were talking about difficulties in hiring and things like that. So that was awesome. And then we've seen a lot of traction this year. So we've been doubling revenue every quarter. And it's been a really good growth year for us, even with all the challenges that we talked about.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can speak to some of the biggest challenge of this year was related to some of the other commentary. Is we also raised a funding round this year, and we try to get prepared for that early. So we started preparing for it in December of 2019, and we're going to launch a fundraise is our Series B fundraise in January, and we started that process, and boy, everything was looking great, and everyone was doing good, and we had a lot of companies that were in the energy venture capital space that were committed to making that investment, and we thought we had it taken care of, and then COVID hit us, and it wasn't so much that it affected us, but it definitely impacted the VC and the and the lending community, or investment community, I should say. And we were at a point where every single investor pulled out, and this was about the same March timeframe that you were speaking to earlier. And we didn't know what we were going to do for a little while there. And because one of the things we figured out is a lot of the venture capitalists that are in the energy space really means oil and gas in many circumstances. And in ours, it did. And if you recall, oil went to negative at the same time. And it was just, it was doomsday there for a while through the lens of the energy companies, which translated to us from trying to raise funds. So we had to look at other ways of doing that. It ended up being our best fundraise round ever by the end of it, because we found new venture capitalists, but also strategic investors that Atom Power's technology is extremely attractive to, and they ended up getting that interest really quickly and closing a pretty big deal around the May timeframe. But that was one of those, all startups will eventually face this. We've faced it probably 4 or 5 times now, is, looking into the valley of death, trying to figure out what you're going to do. It was one of those situations, but it was a rough one there by March, but we ended up coming out okay on that.
How much was that raised for? I know that we did cover it on Inno, but if you want to remind the audience in case they missed that.
It was 17 million.
Cool.
Am I going next? Yeah, so actually extremely huge year, but I guess it's kind of expected. It's one of the early years, right? There's always something happening. So definitely having 2 different locations for space is a huge win for us, because we are working at Argonne National Labs. We have a different set of tools there, and we're renting out laboratory space at UNC Charlotte and have a different set of tools here, and they're really complementing each other and helping us move along. I finished my PhD in August, so that definitely helped me now focus on things instead of spreading myself all over the place. We had finished filing a patent in Asia, Europe, Canada, and US just recently in November. On a core technology, joined Lab Embedded Entrepreneurial Program, Chain Reaction Innovations. We raised $500,000 for R&D purposes. We participated in a US-based accelerator, Venture Prize 2.0, which is actually at UNC Charlotte. We also participated in German accelerator at Macom for materials companies. So we've launched 2 pilots, one in the US, one in Europe, and we're actively building our advisory board. So if we already started with some, right? There's always a start, but if somebody's interested, you're definitely welcome to contact me, and would be happy to see how we can benefit from each other. So definitely very, very big year for us.
Awesome. And we've got everybody's LinkedIn profiles in our chat. So if you do want to connect with any of our panelists today, that's where you'll find them. And Flaviu, did you have a big win that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I think for us, we expanded our network of providers, of hospitals, is key to our plan's growth. And we're very fortunate to have Duke Health join our network, and that then turned into First Health also join our network, and in Scotland and several other hospitals in the area, which just really enabled us to continue growing. Now, I wish somebody on this call is from Atrium Health, because if someone from Atrium Health would join the network, that would really complete that puzzle. But it's only a matter of time.
I'm sorry, I was muted there. And this is definitely a question for all of you. I'm sure this is the question that everybody wants to know the most, but what can the tech startup innovation community expect from each of you and each of your startups in 2021 and beyond?
Yeah, for Atom Power, there's for the folks in the community who are familiar with us, we're building digital circuit breakers, but they've been primarily for the commercial and industrial space. There's been a pretty big push from the community and the industry really to go into the we call it a single pole circuit breaker, but what it means for the audience is that translates into a residential circuit breaker that can meter all of your power, that you can control through your phone, that's wireless, that you can see all kinds of stuff and do all kinds of stuff with. That is coming in 2021. That's a dramatic shift, by the way, from what Atom Power started out focusing on. But we're adding that to our products. Now, whether that's going to be in Lowe's or Home Depot, we don't know yet. That's really not our target at the moment, but it's a pretty big deal. It would be something that consumers can buy, whereas typically it's been contractors, big building developers have been our customers, but we're we're adding to the product portfolio with consumer products that you can put in your home.
That's awesome. It sounds really exciting.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to a big year in 2021. There was already this sort of pent up demand between some of the younger generations. If you look at ownership at certain age ranges, and current generations are a little bit behind. So whether that was because they were scared off from what happened 10 years ago, or student loans or whatever, there was this pent up demand. And now you're delaying that 1 year because a lot of people couldn't get out, shop for homes, and also rates are now really low, so it's making it even more attractive. So the home buying market is expected to really explode next year, and so we're really excited about that and helping people buy their first homes. You can use Bundle for anything, but we really focus a lot of our content on first-time home buyers, making sure you're getting into a house that you can afford and things like that. So that's really what we're excited about for next year.
Great.
Yeah, we're actively raising funds, so we'll soon start actively hiring. So we're very excited about that, providing some work positions, especially in this current situation right now. I think it's very important for the community. And we're also slightly changing our plans. So originally we were going to just produce the materials only, but we are hoping to build our functioning prototype and have it released in 2021, where we can go around and say, hey, this is how materials actually work. Since I think especially now it's a bit more important than just saying, hey, there's a pretty powder or a liquid, to actually say, hey, this is how you can actually employ it, and this is what it looks like. So slightly different, and we are definitely looking for commercial partnerships for that as well, to help us accelerate the success with that. But that would be some of the most exciting things that would happen.
Very cool.
So for Troy Medicare, we're currently in 4 counties in North Carolina where we have about 20% market share. And next year we're adding several dozen more to expand in the rest of North Carolina, and slowly but surely put Blue Cross Blue Shield and United Healthcare out of business.
Awesome, guys. We do have a couple of audience questions. This one is specifically for Margaret, but I think anybody who has an education here in North Carolina can probably answer. The question is, how valuable was your education at a local university in the development of your startup?
Well, so I got targeted here. I'll start. Just looking from different accelerated programs that I've been to and entrepreneurial programs that I've been to National NSF I-Corps program, seen a lot of startups. I feel that I was put in a very luxurious space as a startup where I have had a lot of help. In that sense, UNC Charlotte has been extremely welcoming in that sense to support and help out however they could. And so that had really helped from the startup seating standpoint, and they really helped me to get the right space that I needed to rent, and some of the mentorship and preparations, helping with fundraising, things like that. So definitely a lot of that kind of mentoring skills and pointers that I received. But as far as education, I also feel quite a bit more in a luxury space as a PhD student. Very commonly, PhD students have to just kind of do the work for the projects that they hired for. I had a lot of flexibility within what I've been doing and what I've wanted to learn. So everybody has that sort of welcoming policy. If you knock on a door, people will help you. I mean, when it was in person, it was much easier. You physically knock on a door and people are willing to talk to you. You don't have to go through different stages of issues or reaching out to people. If you just say, hey, this is the issue I'm facing, I think you'd be the right person to help me out with this. People are willing to talk, and if they're not the right person, they're willing to connect you further along. So I've worked with departments of chemistry, physics and optical science department, as well as electrical and computer engineering department. I've also worked with Ventureprise on campus, so very diverse connections. I'm currently starting to work with School of Business as well. So people are very excited, very willing to help, and I don't think that our school is can't be competitive with the top tier elite league schools. I totally think there is actually a benefit to the fact that we are smaller, so you get that different aspect where you can actually learn everything hands-on because things aren't as used, so you can actually go in and learn more things hands-on yourself. So although some of the things can be challenging, but I really appreciated that home-like feeling where you just welcomed and people are willing to help you.
That's a great point. And so many of the startup founders here in Charlotte are, you know, UNCC alums and Davidson alums and, you know, kind of homegrown. So does anyone else have any local education experience they want to talk about?
Yeah, I can take that one. I think, you know, from the standpoint of being an entrepreneur, I'm not an entrepreneur by choice. I'll tell you that. If there were a company doing what Adam Power's doing, I'd just simply be working for them, but there wasn't. So, but the school did prepare me for that, you know, to learn how to adapt to become an entrepreneur by definition, UNC Charlotte. At the time, when I went there, it was a bit different. People were just starting to use email and things like that. The school was pretty prepped with, you know, networking computers and stuff, but not everyone was using email. There's a reason I'm telling you that, because when we went through, the school was probably less funded than it is now, particularly the engineering department, which is where I graduated from. And so what that caused you to do is being pretty underfunded at the time, but also having to do physical projects. You know, for me, it was electrical engineering projects, build things. You really had to be creative to figure out how to do things with very little resources. And I would say that for me came most to light on our senior project. And for those who aren't familiar, in the engineering programs at most universities, you have a senior project in your final year, which basically says you build something and demonstrate it at the end of your senior year, and that's your senior project. And so at the time, it's a lot more structured now, but at the time, basically what would happen is your advisor would say, figure out what you want to build, and go build it, and then demonstrate it to the entire staff at, you know, 8 months from now. And that was pretty much it. So what we had to do is you get banded with 3 other people, so teams of 4. And so what we had to do is we figured out what we're going to build and why it was good and the value proposition. And then we had to literally panhandle door to door to other engineering firms, companies that were making products in the Charlotte region, like knock on the door and ask for money. That's what we did, because we knew it was going to cost money. And we had all the, you know, the rejections you hear about in startups, and yeah, no, we don't think so. But then we gained some wins and actually got enough money to build our product. But the point is, we had to basically do what a startup does, you know, just to build our project. And that was along with the education was certain preparation to figure out how to create a business around something.
Awesome. Our next audience question is, what are your most pressing current needs?
I'm gonna have to ask for a plug at Atrium Health or Novant Health. So if anybody knows somebody over there, please, that would be very much appreciated. Also, we're hiring in the area from Charlotte all the way up to Winston-Salem and all the way out east to near Wilmington. A variety of positions, both clinical and non-clinical. So I'd appreciate folks reaching out.
Yeah, kind of similar on our end is we're, you know, we're trying to find more of our install base locally. I think almost all of our product install is not here; it's in other states in the country. But it would be helpful for some of the folks who are here who would like to look at what we're doing and figure out where there's an application, or if there's an application in their facilities or in their environments, because what we have is truly valuable, none of which I can really go over on this call, but it's a big deal what we're doing. And if you're in the energy space or buildings or facilities, we certainly would love to have more exposure here in Charlotte.
Great.
Yeah, I'll go back to my advisory board building. So if you're somebody who has been in electronic device space, anyhow related to organic cadmium diode technology, if you're already retired, we're looking for you. The main restriction that had imposed, there's definitely a lot of international talent. We're looking for somebody who is US based. For a variety of reasons, but that is something that is very needed at this particular stage of our company and can significantly accelerate if there's somebody who can join our advisory board from that perspective. And we're looking to hire some other also on technical side of things. So if you think you would fit in well, you're definitely welcome to reach out. Interns are definitely welcome. If you're in your undergraduate program right now, looking to get a little bit of experience with just a couple of hours a week of even online work, definitely reach out. There's always something to do with a startup. We can find a place for you to build your resume for sure.
And for us, we're adding banks and lenders every day. So if you're a bank or a lender, reach out. We'll show you a demo, and doesn't matter. We have two-person teams, two-person companies on our platform, and we have companies that are top 15 in the country in mortgage lending. So we also have a real estate agent platform too. So if you're a real estate agent, we can show you what our product does as well.
Cool. We have one more audience question, and the person wants to know, how are you guys acquiring customers and users?
Sure, I'll go there. So again, we have a marketplace. So we have two sort of lanes that we travel there. And so on the lender side or the real estate agent side, a lot of it's more traditional, demos, reaching out directly. On the home buyer side, we have multiple channels that we tackle there. A lot of referrals, actually. That's one. We also do a lot of content. So the content generates a lot of traffic. And then we've got a pretty sophisticated paid marketing strategy as well.
Great.
I'll start for us. Our number one channel distribution is through independent pharmacies. We're the only health plan that does that. And it's because our belief in that local touch of a local pharmacist and local provider that is much stronger than a chain. And so by empowering those folks with data, with technology, with a quality local plan, then they become our champions in each community and tell folks who really trust their advice in that community. So that's how we acquired all of our customers.
Yeah, we had to switch around quite a lot. And usually for a chemical company, you would go through some form of distributor to reach to your manufacturers. But we decided to take a step back from that since the COVID issues, that becomes a little bit more challenging, especially eventually we will reach that point for international market, but as of now we are reaching out directly to smaller manufacturers. We're kind of do everything in one place where they don't have to go from different departments to departments, and we just directly talk to manufacturers, talk about their issues, how we can help them resolve what they're trying to get to their new product. So a lot more of that direct conversation, and that so far has been working out great for us. But if you know a small display manufacturer or commercial type of manufacturer, definitely we're looking for more contacts and see how we can be helpful in helping solve their issues and help them build their product faster.
Yeah, I'll go on that one. On the in the electrification space, it's yeah, there's at least right now there's not a hub for buying the kind of electrical products we sell. So it takes a lot of industry event presentation giving. So we talk at a lot of events. Yeah, that's how we've tended to get at least customer interest, and then target the customers for does what we offer significant value proposition ROI. So we're always critical of ourselves, to say, do we have a use case here, and then we target those customers. You would typically buy our products through distribution, and those channels we go direct to the end user. so far on the commercial side and industrial. That will probably change with the consumer product I mentioned earlier, but that's how we've had to go about it, is really industry events and doing a lot of presentations.
Well, thank you all so much for being here with us today. That wraps up our panel portion. Again, congrats on a great year in 2020, and we're all looking forward to seeing what you've got coming in 2021. So now that we've wrapped up the panel, we are going to reveal to you our full list of startups to watch in 2021. Congrats again to everybody who made our startups to watch list for 2021. Thank you again to our panelists. Everybody on today, be sure to keep an eye on what these startups are doing. And if you want to learn more about any of these companies, go to charlotteinno.com. The full story about each company is going to be up on our website around noon immediately following today's event. Thank you again to everyone who's joined us, and I hope everyone has a great weekend. Bye.